All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I'm istherenoonelse, and today is the day that the 7.1.1 patch notes dropped, the second week of the PTS. Typically, there's nothing interesting that drops during those, and I just checked in, and there isn't. And so I figured I would take the time to kind of talk about this thing before the next PTS week 3 shows up, because those are typically the biggest changes. So we had a discussion in the Discord, and this is something I kind of brought up, that the damage mitigation was quite a bit and it needed an adjustment, and a guy whose opinion I take pretty seriously because he's a good player and he looks at these things as Static Wave. He's in the Discord. He was dueling on the PTS, and he posted some numbers. I'll show you guys some of those, and here's his post that he wanted. I asked him if I could post this and kind of talk about it a little bit and give my point of view and kind of bring it to you guys and get your guys' opinion, what you think also. But he says, in general, time to kill on the live patch is actually not very high because many players are stacking a bunch of resistances and max health to abuse the 1000 weapon and spell damage and CP 2.0, leading to many prolonged fights. Yeah, good. I mean, good players, you still have long fights, like very long fights, especially when you had to stack as much mitigation as you do versus some of the harder hitting builds. So I agree with this so far. The only exceptions are specific builds that can one-shot. These builds, such as triple proc set Stam Sork and 7k weapon damage, bomb blades, gank Sorks, gank blades are the real issues that need to be adjusted. So basically what he's saying is yeah, time to kill on for some classes is high, but it's just some classes. Overall, it's not bad. Those things need to be adjusted. And he says, thus, the solution on the PTS is a total mistake because everyone now gets more than 20% effective damage mitigation from Battle Spirit on top of all the new CP mitigation slottables. This creates a situation where nobody can kill each other, even in a full damage setup, except for classes with an already high base damage like Nightblade, Magsork, and the newly buffed Templar. For the past 3 days, I and many players have tried all sorts of builds to see if we can increase the time to kill on the PTS, but it is simply impossible unless you play the 3 aforementioned classes. I think the solution to reduce TTK, time to kill, on live is by first individually adjusting the builds that cause super low time to kill, such as the triple proc Stam Sork setup, bomb blades, gank Sorks, and gank blades. Then reduce battle spirit mitigation from 55% to 49%, so give players an effective 10% increase in damage mitigation instead of 20%. Please consider readjusting battle spirit, otherwise PvP will enter another tank meta where nobody dies and only a few classes can compete. Yeah, I kind of talked about this in previous videos that I thought it was too much. I felt like somewhere in the halfway point was about right. I did not test it myself because, as you guys know, if you guys read my community board, I'm moving. I'm moving here pretty soon in about a month. So pretty excited about that. But I haven't had as much time to get on the PTS to test things and stuff. Been, in and out of the house while we've been doing showings and whatnot. But yeah. Static Wave is basically confirming my thoughts and other people's thoughts, and he had some numbers to show. And so we're gonna go in here and we're gonna look at this is this is Static Wave in my Discord. And so he's saying it's a full damage stamina necromancer against my 24,000 armor with evasion and no CP. So if we click in here and we look at this duel, looks like he was dueling Jordan, who is a pretty good player on PCNA. But yeah, he's saying 24. So he's in a medium armor build, 24k resistances with major evasion up. And so you see in no CP, the hardest he got hit with the blast bones was 4420. Frenzied momentum hit him for 2496. And it looks like Jordan's running Pierce armor. And so he's got Pierce armor up. He's got, I think he said 7k weapon damage that he's fighting against. So it's not like Jordan doesn't have, like, he's in a full damage Stam Crow build, and the hardest he hit Static Wave here is for 4,400 on a Blast Bones. Now, currently, if I hit somebody super squishy, I'm hitting like a 10k Blast Bones, obviously. But these numbers aren't high enough to kill somebody competent. If you kind of know what you're doing, you're not killing anybody competent with these types of numbers. And guys, I've talked a lot about Stamina Necromancer adjustments. I've talked about them a lot and how some things need to come into play to balance them out because they're a little overtuned. But if a Stamina Necromancer is only hitting 4,400 Blast Bones versus a medium armor build, what are lesser classes going to do? You know what I mean? So that was pretty interesting to see. And then he said, what was it hitting you before? He said 9,000. So the blast bones before was 9K on live. It's 4,400 now. This is with 500 ult Balorg. Dawnbreaker smiting. Hit for 6,500. I don't know if that was a crit or non-crit. Both, actually, sorry. Non-crit was 6,500. Yikes. And 2 non-crit blast bones with full pen. 7K weapon damage and 29K pen. He's hitting a 5760 blast bones. So this is fully penning him. He has no resistances after he's fully penned with this, and it's still only hitting for under 6K. Now, yeah, when it crits, it'll be like 8, 9K, but still, like, that's just a very, very low amount. And so, yeah, I think it's interesting. I think he's got a pretty good point. I don't, there's no cause for concern or anything here. It's just something to talk about, like, hey, we don't want a tank meta. I would much rather deal with gankers and getting one shot by gank builds than go into a fight and not be able to kill somebody and have them not be able to kill me because we know how to rotate heals. Like, it's just so, it's so boring, and it's just frustrating because you know the fight's never going to end. And so, yeah, having this middle ground makes a lot of sense. The proc Sork and the Stam Sork gank builds, there's some pretty easy adjustments you can make for those. Mainly don't have Psijic, and like light attacks working in conjunction with overload leads to a lot of damage. And so that can be adjusted pretty quickly. I don't want to see crit lowered, but like a lot of the gank specs, a lot of the bombers were using, sorry, I'm kind of stuttering here because I'm talking myself through it, but bombers like were hitting so hard that proxy debt was doing 5, 6, 7K on a single target opponent. Like, there was multiple times, and I'm running around in Pariah. I got back bar, Daedra Trickery on some specs, and I was getting hit with 5, 6, 7K proxy debts while I was by myself. And I'm just like, wow, this is a crazy amount of damage. And they're nerfing that, so it's not going to impact in that way. You have to hit multiple people for it to get scaled. But yeah, going after these specific builds and figuring out kind of what makes them tick, how they function. A lot of the Nightblade gank specs function with proc sets. Obviously, like I already talked about the Stam Sork one, that one can be adjusted differently. But yeah, I want all classes to compete. It's not a fun patch when there's only 2 or 3 classes, and he's basically stating the only class that can kill each other are Nightblade, Mag Sork, and Templar, the way it currently stands. And so, I mean, guys, I'm with everybody here. If you're a Nightblade, Mag Sork, and Templar, that's awesome. That's awesome that your class is going to be viable next patch the way it currently stands. It is not awesome for everybody else. And so we should talk about what we can do to make these adjustments. And so, yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, please provide them in the section below. Feel free to jump in my Discord. I will provide a link to Static Wave's channel. Static Wave does have a YouTube channel where, he posts Stam Sork builds. Very, very good player. And so you will see pretty quickly why I take his opinion on these sorts of things and why I wanted to get his opinion out there. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. If you guys have any questions or comments, please provide in the section below. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.